Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Very special stream today. This is the Kalshi prediction market stream where we are actually going to break down what we think are the most profitable trades that you can make on the Kalshi platform. If you've not signed up for Kalshi yet, go to kalshi.com/bodoggos. The first 500 users that sign up with that link earn a $20 deposit bonus after depositing $100. So there you go, 20% on $100 for the only election prediction markets platform that is totally above board in the United States, 100% legal. You don't need a VPN. You can just use it right here in the US. Sign up is super easy. It took me like 10 minutes at most to sign up. And when I say sign up, I mean have cash deposited on the platform ready to trade. So I don't know if I should promise that to everybody, but it was really easy for me to sign up. And so they also just introduced 4.05% interest. Get this, interest on both deposits and active trades. So you can be in an active trade, have a position, and you're earning interest on that position, which I thought was just spectacular. Really, really great feature right there that's been added. And I actually just saw, if you go to Tarek's page, so this is the 4.05%, but go to Tarek's page and take a look at the tweet he just put out. I commented on it, which is that Kalshi flipped Robinhood in the App Store. The mobile app's really slick. Yeah, right there. So look at that. So Kalshi's flipped Fidelity, Discover, Robinhood. I mean, it's pretty sweet. So, we're really excited about this. Without any further ado, why don't we get into the trades? Let's pull up the Kalshi platform. My first trade. Okay, so here's who will win the presidential election. So we got a 56-44 spread on Kamala. So I think that if you're playing this to try to get the trade to settle upon the result of the election, in other words, playing the quote long game, the long game being less than a month here because the election's coming up. I think where I'm at right now is I think I would bet Trump. I don't know if you disagree with that. I think I would bet Trump to win the election. So if you want to go 56 to 100%, that's a pretty solid bet, pretty good gap there. I think that's like a solid bet to make. However, if you want to run a swing trade, because keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, when you make these predictions, you can exit the position at any time. So you could buy yes right now on Kamala, and if it runs to 52% or something like that, you can sell that position. So I think that we will see a bit of a reversal towards the election. I think that this will get even, and I think that where it'll kind of settle is like 51.49 or 50.5, 49.5, something really, really tight. And we're going to be joined by Easy right now, so he might have some perspective on this too. But so I think if you're going to go for a swing trade to bet on this gap closing and this being a lot more even, you bet Harris. I think if you're going for, in my opinion, if you're going for the whole thing and you're betting literally on who you think is going to win and you're holding this position through settlement, in other words, through the actual result of the election, I would go Trump. It's a hard bet. It's a hard bet, but I would go Trump. Easy. I was saying Trump if you're going to hold it through the election, Harris if you're going to try to play a swing on a reversal towards the election of things really tightening up, which I think is realistic. What do you think, Easy?
Harris back to probably 49%.
Yep.
Trump back down to 51.
Yeah.
You have a $25 million whale pushing the price up right now, so that's largely driving it. That was what came out today.
Pushing the price of Trump up?
Yes. $25 million deployed to basically push this on arbitrage opportunities. He ran an algorithm that has him betting 75% likelihood Trump wins.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to come in and say, I almost don't mind buying Kamala here at 44% and just holding through.
I would buy it here at 44, hold it through into election night, and you wait till one of the swing states settles to her way and it bumps it up to 51%. That's how I'd trade it. You get 25% run on the price action, 41 to 52 is how I would trade that. Because you got to think there will come a point on election night, because the media loves drama, in which it'll side either which way. So any of these that are under 45%, you hammer for a swing on election night and just you scalp trade it, because obviously I would not want to hold any of these into settlement personally. Like, sure, it's a 2x, but you're going to see so much volatility that you can just basically scalp that 20% move over and over and over.
It's pretty tight. It's gonna be pretty interesting going into it. Ray, do we want to move on to the next trade?
Yep, I'm throwing $25 here. Boom.
Oh,
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I actually want to do the same because I loaded up my Kalshi the other day to trade on it. I actually enjoyed how easy it was. Capital
super
One
easy.
with Stripe let me literally deposit and use capital in 4 minutes for trading
Same.
from like sign up to go live. I was like, this is great, especially because competitors, it's kind of been a little bit of a headache to get on. This made it way, way easier. Ray, are we going to be looking at the House, Senate, President trades?
We are going to be looking at a couple different things. We can add whatever you would like in there. I know Pio has the popular vote queued up next, but we can jump around for sure.
We can hammer this. This is a no-brainer in my opinion.
You got to go blue.
I think you just go blue and you hold it through settlement. There is no situation where this doesn't settle, in my opinion. I mean, famous last words, I suppose. Famous last words, but like to me, what's the ROI on that? If we do the math, let's say you bet $1,000.
How much? About $400, 40% roughly at 71. Looking for 29% divided by 71. We're looking at like just under 40%, I think. If my math's right, table napkin math here.
Yep. So there you go, and you're getting interest the whole time.
I mean, yep. I'm kind of torn on the popular vote. Everyone seems like makes it sound like it's a foregone conclusion, but
Ray, you're overthinking this, dude. You got to look at it from the biggest states. That is what dictates the popular vote. So Florida and Texas going red. However, there are chunks of Texas that will be going blue. Austin is predominantly a liberal city at this point, which has a large population and a decent swing now. New York, majority is going blue. California, majority is going blue. So purely on population standpoint, that alone should swing it in the popular vote. There's a reason this one has barely moved.
Okay.
That's Ray, fair. What were you going to say, though? You're pointing out the history?
Yeah, I mean, so like the Republicans have won and lost the popular vote only 2 times. Only 2 times in the last, I don't know, since 1900 at this point. So like that's very rare. And we are looking at Trump as the favorite in these scenarios too. So it's very hard for me to just, I mean, 70% on the popular vote just seems a little high.
So hold on. So we're looking at this, that left column that says Dem or Rep. Is that who won the popular vote?
That is who won the election. And this percentage here is how much they won the popular vote by.
Okay. And then what about on the right? Oh, sorry. Never mind.
This is who won the popular vote.
Got it. So
this is who won the election.
So wait, Donald Trump won the popular vote in 2020?
No, he won the election and lost the popular vote by 2%.
By 2%.
To Hillary
What about
Clinton.
2020?
Oh, sorry.
2020, Biden won, and popular vote also won at 4.5%.
Got it. Okay.
The last time it happened was George Bush winning in 2000 against Gore, and Gore won the popular vote by 0.5%.
Gore won the popular vote. Bush won the election.
Which led to the toss-up in Florida.
Did Bush win the popular vote in 2004?
No.
No.
Oh, he did. He did. Sorry, 2.5%. He did.
And that makes sense because he was the president when we got attacked. So this is post 9/11. So he's a wartime president at that point. I think that kind of makes sense. Given that, maybe raise on to something. I don't know. Look, I still feel like it's a free money bet because like California and stuff, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a free money bet. I would bet Harris on this. I'm going to place a bet on Harris for this one, but I understand where Ray's coming from, and I wouldn't be surprised if that gap narrowed perhaps, but it seems, I mean, look at the chart over the past like 4 or 5 months. It's been pretty consistent, has it not?
Yeah. So this is the entire graph because this just opened on the 7th with it becoming legal. But I mean, it's dipped a little bit as Trump has gained in the overall election, but it's still, went from 78 down to 71.
Miguel Ribeiro weighing in saying in the last 10 elections, Republicans only won 1 popular vote. El Dorado saying close to 0 Trump wins popular vote. So I understand where people are coming from with those. I'm still going to go Harris popular vote. I'm going to drop a little cash on that for sure and get some APY, some yield while I do so, while I'm in the position. Next, are we talking Pennsylvania? Right? You are muted, buddy.
Yeah, we can do Pennsylvania. Let's jump over to Pennsylvania. You want to look at who wins Pennsylvania?
Yes. So let's look at PA. So PA, Pennsylvania, is allegedly, according to the political experts, apparently the most important state for the election. Like from an electoral college perspective, whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the whole thing. Apparently, obviously, it is not an exact science like that, but that seems to be the consensus. And look at this up and down, man. This is back and forth over here. The things that are making me think that Trump could win Pennsylvania are, number one, I've been to Pennsylvania, and I would not be surprised if the people in Pennsylvania vote for Trump. Although you have to factor in the cities like Philadelphia, which I would imagine might skew more blue. But then secondly, there's a gentleman named Scott Pressler. If you know who Scott Pressler is, and he's going scorched earth. He is going scorched earth on trying to get Trump elected, or excuse me, trying to get Trump to win Pennsylvania. He bought a house in Pennsylvania. He is going hard in Pennsylvania, registering voters, going county to county, keeping track of analytics corresponding to it. And I just don't think that there's any champion. Like Kamala does not have a champion like that. And obviously that's just one guy, and it's a big state, and there's a lot of people in the state. But when I see that type of momentum, that energy, I feel like something like that could push Trump over the edge in a state that voted for him before. I don't believe they voted for him last time, but I think they voted for him the time before. I could be wrong about that. I actually like to quickly pull up Pennsylvania, the last two elections, maybe even the elections before that. But I would probably vote Trump. I mean, probably predict Trump on this one. I would trade Trump at yes for this one. You know, if you're going to bet on a gap narrowing, it's only a 4% gap right now. There's not really that much upside there. Easy. Do you have any thoughts on this trade?
I would take Trump as well at 52. I like that here. The main reason being Josh Shapiro was the other candidate behind Waltz, which is PA's governor.
Yeah.
So I think there may be some slight slightage towards Kamala going elsewhere on that pick for VP. And I think that does kind of trickle down. I think there is some distaste towards that situation, how it's played out. I don't think PA is like the end all be all, but it certainly is the largest swing state at the moment. Of course, things like Ohio and some of these others could lead into that to go blue at the end of the day. But yeah, I think right now I'd be taking Trump for PA at the current moment.
It's wild that she didn't go with I can't. You just said his name, but the
Josh Shapiro.
yeah, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. Like that was such a misstep in her campaign, just not locking up the Pennsylvania vote. You know, this is such a closely contested state, and Democrats have won 3 out of, I mean, is that 7 out of the last 8 years there?
Damn.
And it's going to be tight again. And if they lose, you can probably point to that one decision as why that's the case.
I think that would have single-handedly won PA for Harris. Like, not even kidding.
1% either way, a lot of these.
Shapiro's a big people are a big fan of Shapiro in PA across the entire state, even the right-leaning side. So them, like the lack of picking Shapiro, I think, was rather surprising, especially when internally it seemed like that was the foregone conclusion for a little bit.
Wild. Absolutely wild. I mean, they're going to make movies about this one, I think. I'd imagine. They made a movie about Obama versus McCain with Sarah Palin, if you remember.
I remember that.
So why don't we go to what Easy wanted to talk about, the election, or excuse me, like who's going to win Senate and what, like, Easy, do you want to lead that?
So it's Senate, House, and President. So you can bet on like mix, sweep, or not bet, you can trade on mix, sweep on Democratic side or Republican side for that trade. So yeah, I like this a lot. They're actually basically pressing in a Republican sweep across the board. So it's not popular vote. This is trading off of who's going to win each of those. And they have every breakdown.
41%
for a Republican sweep. It's pretty wild.
That's pretty crazy. 41% is pretty crazy.
What's interesting to me is they've basically, if you look at this right now, they've essentially said Senate's going to be red. Almost regardless. If you combine these percentages, you're looking at Senate sitting at a 81% Republican.
Yep.
Sitting president almost dictates who's going to win the House, which is really interesting because they're saying if it's a Democratic president, Democratic House is also likely. Republican president means Republican House is likely. So I think that's something to consider here is like in theory, you could essentially take the Trump trade at 52% and hedge against it with this at 24% on a Democratic House, Republican Senate, Democratic president. So you're basically saying, I think if Harris wins, I'd have the 3x upside on this to cover the 48% win on the Trump trade. So that's how
a
I'm looking
nice
at it.
hedge.
Like, yeah, you can basically find a hedge in this when you look at the market and how they're pricing it in. And if you look at historical data, the House president pairing does have a decent consistency for who wins president and who takes House.
So, in other words, you can hammer Trump for presidency and hold it through the election and hedge the bet by hammering yes on D House, R Senate, D President, which is 24% odds right now, and hold this through the election.
Yeah. So downside risk, you'd basically be risking 25% to make 25% if Trump wins, or risking 50% for 75% win. You're hedging a 75% or 25% ARB opportunity on this, is like how I'm looking at it on either side.
Pretty good. Ray, what do you think?
I'm trying to bring up historical election results for the House and seeing what's going on there. It does look like it's very correlated. So the left side is the candidate and the House majorities on the right side here. So it does look very correlated, like Easy was saying. The only times we've seen a split here, 56,
1956,
88. Yeah, so interesting there. I do like that play. I'm not sure how much I want to put on Trump and that play. I mean, you still can potentially get burned, right? If Trump loses and then she sweeps, essentially. What's the Democrat sweep at? 14%?
Yeah. So, yeah, but like Easy pointed out, Republican Senate is being priced in at like 80+%,
right?
According to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's close.
It's giving you
there, yeah.
There's upside, but it's giving you an 81% chance at Democratic House if Dems win, basically. There's some interesting stuff here that like I look at, and I think the historical trend is your friend every time. So like no need to fade it. When you look at the historicals of it, I like the hedge trade here to cap upside, but significantly minimize downside risk.
Trend is your friend. Love it. Let's go to which state will be the tipping point. I mean, I think I gotta just bandwagon, and I just gotta say PA.
I think
so what
PA
exactly defines the tipping point?
Which state wins to decide the election?
Okay.
So in this case, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, which one is going to be the state that officially marks the win?
Gotcha. So it's like which one calls it, or like which one has enough electoral votes?
Which one puts the electoral votes over to 51% of electoral votes? Scroll down. I think they actually describe it in a little bit of a better manner than I am.
So if you look at the rules summary, if Pennsylvania, So wait, let me see. Tipping point. There it is right there. View full notes or view full rules. It's if you scroll down, it says view full rules. There you go. Right there.
Yeah, there we go. Because I just want to know what their definition of a tipping point is. Oh man.
Let's go. We got a document,
Nothing like
baby.
A PDF, baby. Okay. So let's see there. Source agencies are the U.S. state, D.C., and Congress. Issuance of contract with the president.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're skimming a 2-page PDF summarizing the rules of this. I mean, as you can imagine, they got to have some clarity. If a whale's gonna come in and plow $1 million into one of these bets, they'll probably take the few minutes to read a PDF. So we're just kind of summarizing.
So the way that they're summarizing this is whichever state has the smallest margin of victory for the winning individual. So if PA is 50.1 for Harris and 49.9 for Trump, and Harris wins the election, PA is the tipping point.
Okay.
Whichever one has the smallest margin of victory.
Got it. Okay. So people seem to think that PA is the move. I'd put a small bet on it. It seems like this can be a little bit of a toss-up.
Give me North Carolina.
Actually?
Yeah, give me North Carolina.
Wow.
Historically, a red state last few years has been pushing blue. That's the one that I think will have the biggest swing percentage in the trade opportunity. I'm not saying that's the winner. I'm saying that's the one, in my opinion, with the most upside going into election night.
That's actually a pretty good call. So a swing trade on North Carolina
is what I'd be looking at.
So let's look at what each state's at right now. So you're saying North Carolina right now?
61-39. Big favorite there. Surprising. Yeah, I still like North Carolina here. Because this in truth comes down to which ballots are submitted. Like, you were betting on the time of submission of ballots. Because Raleigh, Durham, and Raleigh and Durham are most likely going to go blue. You look at something like Asheville now after the hurricane situation, probably going to go red. So it'll be interesting. I think this comes down to ballots submitted will drive a lot of this action. These are probably the most exciting lines for trade on the night. Yeah, not after the hurricane is what Risky Trade says. I agree. But if you still have the major city votes come in first, it'll swing that pretty hard. And I like it at 11%.
I just GPT'd the document.
Yeah.
And it's essentially saying you sort the states by margin of victory. So it might not even get to PA. If PA is a very close margin, like it might not even get to PA in terms of when Trump wins or when Kamala.
If there's like a landslide victory.
Right. So
this is a risky one. This one's crazy. I like Easy's North Carolina bet just as a swing trade. Because if it goes to like 16%, that's still a 50% gain, right?
Exactly. So, well, if it goes to 20%, you just made 100% gain on the trade.
Yep.
The upside's insane on it. Like this has to move 5% for you to net 50, 60%. And basically your entire bet here, your entire trade is on votes coming in slowly and leaning one side or the other. Georgia's interesting too, in my opinion, because Atlanta for the last election was a huge swing state. So that's kind of why I'm like, I look at the historicals with Trump having ran before in this. And that's what's interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So you can actually look at where he won last time
or what was close. And at Georgia as a state was close. A lot closer than many people thought at the start. It's been historically red. And it came down to people being like, holy shit, is Georgia going to go blue?
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. There might be, do you think there's some value on Georgia?
I do. I like Georgia and North Carolina for a swing. Send Georgia to like 15 cents and North Carolina like 15, 16. And right there, you can net a decent trade opportunity. Like that's the more I'm looking at it, in my opinion.
I like
the previous tipping point states: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Ohio, Florida.
Pennsylvania again. Pennsylvania showing up twice since 1996. Wisconsin showing up in 2020.
Florida in 2000 is so crazy for how historical it's been red. The fact that it was like contested, Al Gore, like that thing is crazy to me.
I mean, that was a really big deal. That was a
hanging Chad, right?
Yes.
What a crazy time. Remember when those were the biggest of our problems?
Oh my God, dude.
Well, I mean, that was right before 9/11, so that was a pretty interesting time in itself, and then invading Iraq. So there's a lot going on then too. So let's go to the Fed rate cut markets. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Which one do you want to look at?
So,
November?
Well, we got a lot to look at here. So you can basically, all right, so people are betting 81%. Hold on. People are betting 81% on a 25 basis point cut.
Yeah, they're trading 25% here.
What do you think of that, Easy?
I think that's a foregone conclusion.
Yep.
25% November. In my opinion,
25
feels like the
points.
easiest trade. Yeah, 25 basis points at 81%. Basically a guarantee at this point. I would take it for 19%.
And so if some unusual thing happens and they end up actually cutting rates by 50 basis points, this still pays?
No,
the other option is greater than 25, which is only at 4%. So if they cut 50, you would make a 25x right now if you took this trade.
Wait,
this is just to cut only 25.
Yeah. It has to be exactly 25, not at least 25.
Correct.
Wow, the market's that certain.
Yeah,
I have some on the zero. I got on the zero around 6%.
I like the zero.
I like the zero too. Some value there.
It has ran recently though. You know, it was
Well,
at
we have more data
6.56 for
coming
a
out
while.
tomorrow. Economic data, October. I think tomorrow's another, not CPI. What is tomorrow? There's a few data points dropping tomorrow. Let me find this. Sorry, I do apologize. Normally I'd have this pulled up.
No,
Yeah,
worries.
inflation rate year over year is dropping. Oh, that's Japan. We have bond auctions, bond investments, Fed balance sheet tomorrow, which is interesting. Net capital flows tomorrow. Where was it today? Oh, today's the manufacturing data. We already got that. Yeah, so this should be priced in based on the data that's already dropped. How did it move today?
It moved a little bit up today. I think did we get unemployment today? I feel like I saw some unemployment unemployment claims news that unemployment claims had hit new lows today. So I wanted to check the rates, but I didn't look at the numbers.
I'm not seeing that on this. I'm seeing it for other countries, not the States.
Okay. We do have some speeches from the Fed coming out of Waller and Bostich.
Yep. So that's happening later today or tomorrow. Yeah. So I mean, a couple of these things I'd be interested in. I don't think the Fed's speech is probably the most interesting because if one of them comes in over the top and basically says like either we're gonna cut or we're not cutting anymore, then you should have some swing on the price action. Obviously, it still comes down to a couple of the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about selling the no here. I don't know if I'm taking the no at 25%. Like this is about as high as it's gotten, as you can see. So I'm thinking about cutting as somebody who was in at 6 cents for a 4x.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's the no on
no rate cut November.
Got it. On the zero.
Yes on no rate cut November.
Yes.
But right now, I mean, there is a little bit of a spread here, so you can only sell it at 22 cents. 15 cents on the order book. A little bit of a spread here. So somewhere in between 15 and 22 we're sitting.
I'd probably sell that if I were you. I'm still surprised by just how high that 25 basis point cut is. But then I guess, look, people are just saying that we're in a rate cut cycle and it started. So, you know, this is a multi-year rate cut cycle, a big one. There's crazier things that could happen.
We can look forward at total rate cuts.
I like that.
For 2024?
So we've had 2 so far. So the favorite is 4, which is saying we get 1 cut November, assuming that 81% holds out, and then another one in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
no's a little interesting there. Like you're just betting that one of the next 2 months we don't have a cut, essentially.
I think you hammer 4. I think 4 is a foregone conclusion, dude. There's so many rates that they can continue to cut. We've cut 2. There's still 500 bips that we can cut, which is crazy, dude. That's another 20 cuts we could theoretically have.
Right. So they probably won't be that stingy about it. So quick though, it has to be exactly 4?
Exactly 4.
Yes.
Yep.
So 1 and 1.
What do you think about 5 then?
My only concern, I don't like 5. I lean more on 3 than I do 5. If they cut November, yes.
You don't think there's a chance we see like speculation or 1 week of bad data push this up from 7%?
No, because of the new year, they'll wait to going into the new year. It's either they cut both or they cut 1 and don't cut December. Either we get 25-25 or we get 1. I think November's foregone conclusion we cut, but I think there's a higher chance we could not cut in December. If CPI and PPI in November come in and are in line or even better than anticipated, and it shows that these cuts are working aggressively and this early and we have the soft landing, they could say we're going to hold off in December. The likelihood of it, I think, is still small, but 5 cuts, it's not even worth it, in my opinion, to make a trade on 5. 4 and 3 is the most interesting to me.
In case we slow I mean, look, the market's pumped.
In case we get a soft landing. That's why. And there's still pumping, and usually cuts lead to a down market initially before liquidity is injected. And instead, we're getting an up market in cuts, which is like, it basically seems like Powell may pull off a soft landing. As crazy as it is. My other concern,
it's kind of a manufactured soft landing. It's kind of like,
dude, they moved the definition of a recession. They changed it. Like the other thing is right now, tech jobs, from some on the ground news I've been hearing is we're going to see a pretty significant increase in layoffs through the end of the year. Just from people I know, watching the tech sector, watching a lot of that, and that's because rates aren't low enough for companies to borrow money again. They're just still not. So like if that happens, then 4 absolutely happens. In January we could get 2, especially if there's a potential for a new sitting president, to just absolutely send the market in hopes of getting like really positive press of a new sitting president, economy's booming, job market's rising. That's kind of what I look at here. Is my bet is I like 3 for the trade. I like 4 for the guarantee, for the hold through.
I like that a lot. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, yes, at 21% on 75 basis points worth of cuts or 3 total cuts. In other words, it's really, I don't know why it says like 3 cuts. It should just say 75 basis points, but whatever, either way. And then yes, at 64 cents for 100 basis points or 4 cuts. And that's, 64 cents right now for that one versus 21 cents for 3 cuts. Easy saying hold the 4 cuts through the end of the year and trade the 3 cuts, a little swing trade there. I like those calls for sure. What about November?
So we just touched on November
got it.
a bit. But what about Powell? What about the man behind it?
So it's kind of crazy. Before 2026. I mean, this is a long bet. There's a long trade, really long trade.
Yes and no, because if you get Trump in office, Powell's out, in my opinion.
Just immediately?
Within the first quarter of 25.
This probably jumps immediately.
Yeah. It'll go to 75, 80. Easy. This Harris wins, this goes down to 30.
This is a leverage bet on Trump winning.
Quite literally. You are leverage trading the election. Other thing though is you could get a Harris win, red Senate, red House, and that could send this as well. Like, and there's interesting dynamics.
Jerome Powell actually came in early 2018 when Trump was president, which is pretty interesting. He's been in there for almost 7 total years.
Yeah, but the pandering to current sitting president is what's causing the distaste from the Republican Party. Because despite him coming into a red office, it's leaning blue once the blue seat occurred.
You also want to talk about trend is your friend. Janet Yellen served for exactly 4 years under Barack Obama. Then Ben Bernanke, who served under George W. Bush and a little bit under Barack Obama, he was 8 years. Before that, Alan Greenspan, really big name, Alan Greenspan, he had a long run. He was under Reagan, Bush, Clinton, and Bush. So that's 18 and a half years. But before that, Paul Volcker, another pretty big name if you listen to people that talk about the history of economics, he was 8 years. Before that, William Miller, never heard of him, only a year and a half. Before that, Arthur Burns, only 8 years. I'm seeing a lot of 7, 8 years. And Powell's about to hit 7 years. It could come down to the wire here.
Mm-hmm.
Like 7, 8 years seems pretty normal. You got a lot of that. And short stints.
230 days for the first guy. Didn't even make it.
Guy's a
Didn't
loser.
even make it a year. When was that? 1913? Okay, so we were coming fresh out of the Great Depression right into World War II. No better situation than being in that. I can tell you that much.
Can you imagine being this dude? This dude, William McAdoo? I mean, who is this guy?
President Woodrow Wilson.
My federal chair.
Yeah, well dressed.
Dude was born in 1863, lived to be 77. Healthy guy. He got his magnesium. I'll tell you that.
Back then, dude, the average life expectancy is like 38. My man 2x'd it. Good for him.
I feel like Nick always says that, and I'm like, dude, you're like making up those numbers about life expectancy.
I genuinely have no idea. I'm sure it wasn't 70, but
no, I'm totally joking. Anyway, so let's go back. So I'm gonna look. I'm just gonna stay away from that particular trade because it's a little bit too high risk for me. I do think it's a nice swing trade if Trump gets elected for sure. I think you could get a 50% gain, maybe a little bit less than that. It's just, it feels a little bit aggressive. It feels like an aggressive trade for me. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think I'm touching it at 50.
I have no interest in it, sadly. I look at it, I'm like, this isn't that interesting to me.
It recently jumped to 50. Like it was hovering in the 30s. So it was a bit more interesting there. Maybe put a limit order in the 30s. I get a little more interested.
Yeah.
But 50 is a bit high right now. So like looking at the order book, there's a pretty big spread. A buy order at 26 maybe hitting would be interesting to me.
We can move on to will. This is an interesting bet. Will Linda Yaccarino leave X?
Yes.
So give some background on Linda
He said
Yaccarino
yes.
and why would she leave?
So Linda Yaccarino, if I'm not mistaken, is literally the CEO of X.
CEO of X.
Yeah, so she's the CEO of X. She's 60 years old. She went to Penn State and she worked at Turner Entertainment for 15 years. So she comes, from the kind of, media world, worked at NBC Universal also. She joined X when it was in the past 2 years. So, okay. Wikipedia is fascinating. There's a line here that just says, under Musk's and Yaccarino's leadership, hate speech has increased on the platform, which is a wild, just to definitively say that, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, she did a video relatively recently talking about the updates coming to X and talking about how it's going to be a video platform. I just don't understand, what would possess her to suddenly leave before 2025, which is in the next 3 months. Like, why do we think this is going to happen?
Your guess is as good as mine.
By the end of this year, I don't think it is. Yeah, I feel like you got to take the no through the end of the year. Through next year, I'd probably take yes. Because, if you get some more pushback on X and you have Elon, pretty publicly and vocally supporting Trump and saying, he's going to be ousted if Harris wins, then could they come after X for sure? And maybe they try to make a CEO switch in order to try to calm public media narrative. That's kind of the bet.
Yeah, the about on Kalshi, the context that's given is that ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino's faced significant challenges since taking over the platform formerly known as Twitter after Elon Musk's takeover. Despite efforts to revive the advertising business and implement brand safety controls, the company continues to struggle with content moderation and controversies surrounding Musk's statements. Recently, marketing leaders have urged Yaccarino to resign due to Musk's endorsement of an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, which has led to several major brands suspending their advertising on the platform. I feel like that was months ago. That was 6 months ago, maybe.
November 19th, 2023.
Okay, that's a year ago. All right, dude, I'm going no on this, and I'm just treating it as a little bit more yield on the money that I have on Kalshi because I'm getting 4% yield already. And then that 86%, that 86 cents, I know it's not a big W going from 86 to 100, but regardless, it feels like a foregone conclusion to me.
That's easy. And you're just going to be holding that through essentially.
Yeah, just that you're treating that like interest in a bank account, like a treasury bond.
Like that?
The riskiest treasury bond anybody's ever bought compared to a real treasury bond.
It's a Y bond.
Soon enough, the 4% will be better
bond.
than a treasury bond.
Soon enough, what?
4% will be better than the treasury bonds.
Absolutely. 100% because of rate cuts. So next one, Time Magazine's Person of the Year. This ought to be a hoot. This is announced December 6th. Who is in the running for Person of the Year?
We have AI as the leader.
It's going to be AI. AI or Sam Altman, which in my opinion should be one and the same.
Doesn't Time Magazine like to do funny stuff like just make it AI?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'll bring up the historical. I think Taylor Swift won last year. So that's odd that they would think she would win back to back.
She's not going to win back to back.
98 no. Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. So in other words, people know that's trash. That's a trash bet trade right there. What do we got for history? Who won before Taylor Swift?
Bringing it in now. Lots to scroll through here.
Okay.
Let me just do this. The list was much longer than I expected.
Well, it's a lot of years.
The spirit of Ukraine split it with Zelensky in 2022. Musk won in 21. Biden and Harris split it in 20.
That's so
Greta Thunberg in 19.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah. Yep.
The Guardians in 2018. So those are journalists.
Yeah.
The Silence Breakers in 2017. That's the Me Too movement. Trump in 2016. Interesting. Angela Merkel. Okay. I mean, Pope Francis, Ebola fighters. I think it'll be either AI or it's probably just going to be AI. Like, I feel like making it Sam Altman's too big of a thing.
Yeah, it seems like they like to sprinkle in like this like group of people or like abstract every like so often.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're too close to the last one with the spirit of Ukraine, but I mean, I guess Zelensky is also tied in with that. I could see it being just AI. So
it's either going to be AI or AI and Sam Altman.
So I wonder what happens if that's the case.
That is a good question. If it's both, how does it resolve?
If multiple persons win, all persons that are listed, the payout criterion.
Sorry for the dead air. We're just reading the rule summary for the resolution of the Time Person of the Year for 2024. We will have the results momentarily.
So it looks like if it's multiple people listed, it's who's on the cover or it splits.
Got it. That
So
makes
like
sense.
it was Khashoggi would have won it when they had the Guardians. That would have went to yes.
Got it. That's a good example for them to bring up. So if they do AI, Sam Altman's probably going to be on the cover.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. Like,
yeah. And
yeah,
he's
Altman, I like
pumped a
Altman at 16% here, and that's not a long way away. I mean, early December, you could swing trade it a bit if ChatGPT announces like advancements towards AGI potentially. That like really gets things in motion.
I like it. I like the Altman bet. I'll swing trade that one. Last one we're gonna cover today.
I thought you liked this one, Pia.
The temperature in New York City tomorrow.
Every day they have this. This is interesting to me.
So people are.
You got the alpha. You're on the ground.
It's a nicer day today than it was yesterday. How about that? Way nicer today than yesterday.
So how you feeling for tomorrow? Is the question.
It is 60 degrees there.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think I have a jacket, and I'm going to be there next week. I don't want a jacket in 5 months.
I have a bunch of jackets if you need one.
It's getting cold.
We're looking at 68 degrees on the hourly here as the high.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm built for betting on trading the weather. I don't know if I'm built for it.
Yeah, I thought I'd include that. I thought you might have some alpha for us being on the ground.
Yeah, let me go back to that.
59 to 60 is 86%. It's within 1 degree. The market's saying, yeah, no brainer.
Yeah, feels like just take the no there.
Yeah, give me the no. Just give me the no.
What's the volume on this trade?
Not much.
Go.
6K.
$6,000 from psychopaths that are betting on the daily
1% temperature, 1 degree temperature ranges. This is the meme coin of Kalshi.
This is hilarious. Like, who is this out of their mind that they're just running 1 degree temperature bets? I love it. I love the trade. I also just love the level of certainty the market has. No brainer, 59 to 60.
Lock it in. Somebody's out there with a thermometer.
Yeah, like, I mean, but then again, this is one thing where if you're a data nerd and you have models and you make an algorithm and you run, different like kind of data analysis, game plans, you can figure this out because there's so much historical weather data. Like so much. There's probably like 80 years at least of accurate temperature-based data for New York. Like, we've been able to tell temperature for a long time, and scientists have been all over this for a long time. So maybe that's what's going into this. It actually would kind of make sense because, like, basically anybody that has that sort of data, which if you're a data person, if you're a big data engineer, that's just not even that hard to come up with. You could probably print some money doing this.
I lost the stupid July one. Do you remember I took the temperature average temp in July. Turns out they check the water temperature to determine what the air temperature is. And because they did that, there was multiple heat pockets over the ocean, which were 15 degrees hotter than they've ever been. So I ended up losing by like 3 degrees because of some stupid thing where there's no land.
That's not
Gotta read the
okay.
fine print. I don't know. I like the 61 to 62 here. It looks like it's oh no, just adjust it back down. Yeah, 61 I'm seeing here. 61s. Might get there. Maybe turn on a couple heaters as you're like walking through your apartment complex, knock on some doors, have them blow fans outside, PO. Will influence it a little bit.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Just
I
you know,
don't know how
working
much
for your bags, as
influence.
they say.
Yeah, working for my bags. All right. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our stream. That's our show. You're going to see us continue to, cover the prediction markets on Kalshi. That's Kalshi.com, KALSHI.com/Bodogos. You'll get a $20 deposit bonus if you sign up at KALSHI.com/Bodogos. If you deposit $100, the first 500 users who sign up are going to get that $20 bonus. Right now, there's a 4+% yield on all capital that you deposit to the platform and that you have in active bets or active trades, excuse me. And so you can have an open position and earn yield on it. And then beyond that, Tarek pointed out on X today that Kalshi is climbing the ranks of the App Store quick here ahead of the election, and it literally just flipped Robinhood, flipped Fidelity. Very cool stuff from Kalshi. Anyway, fantastic opportunity to work with Kalshi here, and we're just really pumped about it. Kalshi.com/Bodogos. You'll see us talk about this more. You'll see us actually, make trades on Kalshi ourselves. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys later.